So, what if the most painful losses in your life weren't actually punishments, but were preparations? That's the huge idea we're going to dive into today. This concept of a higher plan, where every single ending is really just setting the stage for a much, much greater beginning.
Look, we've all been there. Losing that job you poured everything into, the end of a relationship you were so sure was the one, or that terrifying feeling when your financial security just vanishes. It's this gut-wrenching personal pain, but you know what? It's a feeling that connects literally all of us.
You know that feeling, right, when the floor just drops out from under you? It's that mix of shock, confusion, and that one single question that just rings in your ears. Why is this happening to me? It honestly feels like the universe has singled you out for some kind of cruel joke.
Okay, but what if we just flip that question on its head? Instead of asking, why me, what if we started asking, what is this for? What if the universe isn't punishing you at all, but is actually clearing the path for something way better? This is the heart of what we're talking about today. This idea that loss isn't the end, it's just getting you ready.
So what even is the higher plan? Well, think of it like this. It's a principle that says sometimes things are taken away from us, not out of cruelty, but to create the space we desperately need to step into our next, much bigger chapter. And this, right here, this is the why. A comfortable job, a predictable relationship. I mean, they can feel safe for sure, but they can also become these little containers that actually limit our potential. The universe, or whatever you want to call it, sometimes has to come along and smash that container just so you have room to actually grow.
To really get this, let's look at a really simple story. It's a little parable about a bird and a bell, and it perfectly captures this idea of a sanctuary being lost, only for a true paradise to be found.
So imagine this tiny bird who finds what seems like the absolute perfect home, this huge, quiet, unused bell. It's safe, it's secure, it feels permanent. For months, everything is perfect. The bird is thinking, I've made it. This is my forever home. And then, bam! It all comes crashing down. Suddenly, without any warning, people show up and completely tear down its nest. The sanctuary is gone. From the bird's point of view, this is it. It's the end of the world.
And so the bird is just sitting there, thinking what we all think in those moments. Why? Why would the universe let my home, my sanctuary, be destroyed? The despair is just total.
But this is where the story pivots. Because it's forced to fly, the bird ends up going further than it ever dreamed it could. And on this journey, it stumbles upon a real paradise, a place with endless food, fresh water, and a whole community of other birds. It finds things it never had in that lonely bell, things like connection.
And that's the light bulb moment, right? The bird realizes that if its safe little nest hadn't been destroyed, it would never have found this incredible paradise. The single worst thing that ever happened to it was the direct cause of its greatest blessing. What felt like total destruction was actually its ticket to freedom.
Okay, so that's a nice story about a bird, right? But how does this actually apply to us? How do we go from our own crisis to creation? Because this isn't just a fairy tale, it's a blueprint for our own lives.
Just think about it. The bird's safe little bell. What's our version of that? For a lot of us, it's a modest but predictable salary. Both give us that feeling of security, but in reality they stop us from dreaming bigger. They feel safe, sure, but really, they're a beautiful cage.
Let me tell you about a real-world example. A man was in that exact spot, secure in a modest job, when a financial crisis hit and his whole nest was just obliterated. But here's the kicker. It was all about his mindset. He chose to see this insane pressure, not as an ending, but as the universe pushing him. It forced him to innovate, to start his own company, and eventually to build a life he couldn't have even imagined inside his old comfort zone.
And get this, the scale of his success is just mind-blowing. That company he was forced to start, it now employs over 100 people. That crisis didn't just transform his life, it created opportunities for a whole community. His biggest personal disaster became the foundation for his greatest contribution to the world.
All right, this brings us to one last really powerful way to think about all this. The gardener's pruning. I want you to start thinking about your struggles as a gardener, just making space for you to finally bloom. You see, to the rose bush itself, when the gardener comes with those shears, it feels like a violent attack. It feels like destruction. From its limited perspective, it can't see the bigger picture. All it feels is the pain. But the gardener knows better.
The gardener has the higher perspective and knows that by cutting away the old, dead branches, they're creating the space for that rose to bloom bigger and more vibrantly than ever before. That so-called destruction is actually an act of love. The universe is that gardener for you.
So, how do we actually do this? How do we trust the process? Okay, first things first, you gotta acknowledge the pain. It's real. Feel it. Second, you have to make a choice, a conscious decision to not give up on your own story. Third, you've got to listen to that inner voice, your intuition, and start seeing these hard times as transitions, not dead ends. And finally, you just have to trust that you're being moved towards something better.
So listen, if you are going through it right now, if you feel like you're being cut back, just remember this. You are being pruned for a reason. It feels like destruction, I know, but it's actually preparation. If you can just hold on to your faith, you are going to witness wonders.
So I want to leave you with this, a question to really sit with. Look at whatever challenges you're facing right now. And the next time you're tempted to ask, why is this happening to me? Just pause and try asking this instead. What paradise might my current struggle be preparing me for?